I just want to ask, are you a top or a bottom when it comes to mixing? My name is Lou. I'm a mixing and mastering engineer with credible history, and if you're looking for videos that get straight to the point, quick and dirty videos, then you're in the right place. Now let's talk about it. Now what I mean is top-down mixing or bottom-up mixing. Now to explain bottom-up, this basically is the most traditional forms, meaning that you start with the individual tracks, then you move on to processing in buses, then you move on to processing in your master bus, if you are the type to process on your master bus. Now what top-down does is, as the name implies, starts from the master bus, down to the buses, down to the individual tracks. Now there is a hybrid workflow that exists right in between things, but it's at that point that you're just kind of doing what you want to do and you're not really landing between one of the two in your own workflow. You know, if you do anything else outside of this, I don't think you necessarily subscribe to one or the other. When it comes to mixing music, there is no rules, but some of us tend to fall into some pretty traditional processes, right? We might look at the drums first, we might look at the vocals first, we might take a listen and just approach it in a very broad sense, or even just attack the issues that we hear first and then go into coloration. You know, this topic is more about, you know, where are the benefits of each. So it's not to downplay any of them, but rather just explain the differences. Okay, so let's jump into Pro Tools real quick and we'll just give some quick broad examples of top down and bottom up. Okay, now we're in Pro Tools, so let's take a look at this record. It's a record by RAD. It's called Unthinkable, and if you're wondering if I worked on this song, no I didn't. If you're wondering where I'm getting music that is available to actually try these things out on, follow till the end of the video and I will give you a link that you can use. It'll give you a free 7-day trial. The cool thing is you can use these songs for your content creation needs, and you know, that's what we're doing today, right? So let's look at the examples of top down and bottom up. Okay, first let's talk about bottom up, which is working on the individual tracks themselves to enhance the actual mix. So if we're looking at the bass right here, if we take a listen to the song, you'll see why I'm thinking it might need a little love. So hit and play. But loving you was easy, see, when it was just you and me. Since you wanna... Once again, not bad, but it just needs a little love. For me, if you know me, I love the Voice of God. It's a great low-end resonance tool. I'm hearing it somewhere around like 80-ish, maybe. I'm not really sure. Maybe around 60, but let's just take a listen. We're gonna boost the amplitude, just kind of play with it. But loving you was easy, see, when it was just you and me. Since you wanna leave this. Honestly, that's all it needed. The rest of it was cool. Now the vocals are a little bit on the thin side for the style of vocal that I'm hearing. Let's just kind of solo them out and just kind of hear them. But loving you was easy, see. There's also a little bit of a sharp S going on in the vocals that I kind of want to take a listen to, and it may need a little bit of love in the body too. Maybe that's part of it, but let's see about taming the S and see if we still need to add more body. But loving you was easy, see, when it was just you and me. I'll pick up the pieces. Okay, not bad. It did help with the S's a little bit. It just seemed a little bit whistly there, but I still feel like it needs a little bit of body. And if you know me, I love Voice of God. So we're going to play with it, put it more into a vocal range around 200-ish as the center point, and we're just going to play with the frequencies. But loving you was easy, see, when it was just you and me. Since you wanna leave this, I'll pick up the pieces. Yeah, you said I'm not a second chance, and I know that I'm not perfect, and this probably sounds really selfish, but I hate that I'm not with you. I just wish that I could tell you that my That's a nice little addition of chest in that vocal. That's really nice. Now, obviously, at a certain point, I was over boosting just because I wanted to hear what we're doing. Forget about that. Everybody has their own process. But honestly speaking, I like the changes that it's making. Now, the drums could use a little more impact. Let's see. Okay, not bad, but the kick could still come out a little bit. Let's try something for the kick. Okay, so let's pull up something like low end focus, because I feel like the low end is just not that well defined on these drums. So let's see here. Okay, so in solo, it doesn't sound bad, to be honest. Now, let's hear it with the record. We're going to leave it bypassed first, and then hear it with the record. Okay, I'm not going to lie, that actually helped it a lot, and we're going to keep that. That worked out just fine. So now let's take a listen to the actual instruments. I didn't really hear much of an issue with the instruments in their fullness, but rather like just the range that they share with the vocal.
Second chances, and I know that I'm not perfect, and this probably sounds really selfish, but I hate that I'm not with you. I just wish that I could tell you that my this time is the truth. I lost their trust, I understand, but do I have to be that man? It's unthinkable, but loving you was easy. See,
Cool. Honestly, that sounds good to me. We'll take a quick listen. We'll listen to the before, and then we'll listen to the after from bottom-up perspective.
loving you was easy. See, when it was just you and me. Since you wanna leave it, then I'll pick up the pieces.
Honestly, it sounds great. So let's bounce this. We'll put it as one of the other referenceable tracks in this, and we'll do a top-down version, trying to tackle all the same things we did now. As I'm taking things off, just to be clear, because we didn't work with buses or anything else on these stems, we're not showing the example where with bottom up, you would then move on to the buses. But we're just going to go ahead and take these out, and we're just going to, once again, try to replicate this for the actual master bus. So we're going to go top down, starting from scratch. So let's take a listen to this chorus.
But loving you was easy. See, when it was just said I'm not a second chance, but loving you was easy. See, me. I'll pick up the pieces. Yeah, you said I'm not a, but loving you was easy. See, when it was just you and me. I'll pick up the pieces. Yeah, you said I'm not.
Now, keep in mind, I'm working fast because with top-down mixing, one of the benefits of it is that you're focusing on an overall sound that you say, okay, great. It feels like it needs more line. The S's are still standing out. It could be a little bit rounder. And if you notice, I'm using some of the same plugins I had already used because I already kind of knew what I was going after when I tried it the first time. So we're not going to waste time and try to find all new plugins to recreate it. We want to really compare it, you know, as best as we can. This isn't an apples for apples comparison. This is definitely apples and oranges, but we definitely want to see how close can we actually get it. You know, is there really one best way to start off with? Let's kind of see, because we can always dive back in and create separation by going from the top down to the stems.
But loving you was easy. See, when it was just you and me. Since you wanna leave this, I'll pick up the pieces. Yeah.
Okay, so just for a quick comparison, once again, we're not done, but let's see what it actually sounds like. So this is what we did with the actual stems.
But loving you was easy. See, when it was just you and me. Since you wanna leave this, I'll pick up the pieces. Yeah.
Okay, right away, you could definitely hear that the vocals are much clearer. We didn't actually change any volumes or anything on those stems, outside of maybe some of what the plugins were doing, obviously. But when it comes to the actual back and forth real quick, like, we've definitely worked much faster on the master bus than we did on the individual stems, and we're not too far away. So let's just dive in a little more, and then we'll jump down into the stems and then see if that related to, you know, having a faster end result.
But loving you was easy. See, when it was just you and me. Since you wanna leave this, I'll pick up the pieces. Yeah. But loving you was easy. See, just you and.
Okay, we're definitely closer. We're definitely in the ballpark. Let's do low end focus again. See if we can get those kicks a little bit tighter. But remember, when you use things on the master bus like low end focus, you're affecting the bass and the kick. We're not just affecting the kick anymore. So we especially need to be listening for what we're doing.
Pick up the pieces. Yeah, you said, but loving you was easy. See, when it was just you and me. Since you
Yeah, see, this is where it's a good example of where using low end focus on the master bus made it a little bit woofy. You know, it's not as tight as when we use it on the individual stems. So this is where the example of top down now moves on from going on the buses down to the individual stems. So low end focus, bam, doing the same process as we did before. Let's see here.
But loving you was easy. See, when it was easy. See, when it was just you and me. Since you wanna leave it.
See, now we're actually hearing the difference where with top down, yeah, you can get the coloration a little bit faster. You can do some pretty broad strokes, but it's not going to be as fine-tuned with bottom up. Now, once again, with top down, you can start going down into the individual tracks. Now, things that I'm hearing is a lot more separation in the low end and in the drums. But part of the reason was because we attacked the low end with a different boost with the voice of God than we did the drums. But in top down, we're applying it so broadly that the kick and the bass are getting the same treatment in the low end because they're both in the same range. Now, when it comes to adding body to the vocals, once again, instead of, you know, doing any kind of like voice of God to it or anything, because we're already using it and voice of God would taper anything below it, it wouldn't be the right move. So trying to boost a little bit of low end in the vocal while doing top down, not as effective. So really all this to say that though top down does give you the speed and performance of what you're looking for, it's not always going to give you the clarity and the definition of bottom up. So in the end, is bottom up or top down necessarily better? With top down, you get a lot faster changes. Now, that means that you can stay in your creative zone a little more and you can always fine tune and tweak as you go. With bottom up, you're spending the time actually attacking individual issues or enhancements. And that way you can actually get the record done with a little more definition, but it's going to take you a little bit longer. Now, sometimes you get a recording and the recording just isn't that great. Maybe it just wasn't recorded in a nice room. Maybe it just wasn't the best mic. It could be many factors, at which point bottom up is actually a lot more useful because you're giving a lot more detail and a lot more attention to individual tracks and trying to get them all to be the best that they can be versus giving them all the lift that they all just seemingly need. If a track was recorded on ribbon mics all the way across the room, don't get me wrong, that's going to be a pretty dark track, but that also might be the vibe of the record. Now, top down is very useful when you consider the fact that not every recording is going to be bad necessarily, nor is it going to be amazing. Sometimes it's just a little dark because of the choice of microphones. So if it's a little bit dark, it's nice to be able to throw on your favorite plugin and just brighten it up to where your taste is, because maybe those mics were actually really good at getting like separation, the definition is there, the engineer did a really good job, the musicians were really good at picking their tones that really complemented each other. So top down might actually help out at first and just kind of getting it to the ballpark, and then you can work on the stems to really define that sound. Now in this case with the low end, bottom up was actually better because we were actually able to choose where we wanted to enhance the low end and put them into their own little pockets that best complemented the source audio. So the kick didn't have the same treatment as the bass, but in top down, the kick and bass were given the same exact treatment, and if done just by a little too much, it starts to really just continue the blur. There's no real definition. We saw that with low end focus, where low end focus was trying to enhance just anything there, and it ended up being a little more woofy than we wanted it to be. Once again, as always, this video is meant to be quick and dirty. We're not supposed to be diving too deep and making this video too long. There's so much more to bottom up and top down mixing that it's warrants that each their own video realistically. But this is just a nutshell, you know, so let me know what you think is the approach that you kind of find yourself with the most, or where you like to start. Some people like to start bottom up and then they just, you know, do whatever they want after that. Some people like to start top down and then do whatever they want from there. Let me know what your approach is on this one. As I mentioned earlier, I didn't actually work on this song professionally speaking. I actually found this one through where I get all the music for the content that I make. Now, there are going to be songs that I do mix and master where clients give me permission for it, but because of DMCA strike risks and all that kind of stuff, especially with everything going on with TikTok and all that, I felt it to be a little bit safe and go with the same place that I get, like I said, all the music, which is Epidemic Sound. Now, I have a link down below where you can get a free 7-day trial. What's really cool about Epidemic Sound is that if you're creating content and need music for the background, it's a lot better than the free DMCA, like strike free risk, whatever videos on YouTube. The music is really good quality. As you heard, this was one of the records, and if you've been watching any of the videos, all the music you hear in the background is Epidemic Sound. But you also have the option of downloading the instrumentals, the actual stems, just like you saw, and you can actually try out whatever you want. You can use the same plugins as me, use the same records, and actually try these things for yourself and really play around and see if you can find a better setting or whatever you want. So if you would like to get a free trial to that, it's the link down below. It does actually help me out, as it makes it possible for me to continue using their service at a lower cost. But outside of that, it's definitely something that pays for itself when you're actually putting it to use. Now, as always, if you like this video, if you found it useful, like, subscribe, comment down below what we talked about earlier. Let me know about your process of mixing, or if there's another process or a style of mixing you want me to cover, definitely leave it down below. But as always, thank you for being here. I really appreciate it, and the quality is just going to keep going up from here. So I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.